Do roll call.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just making sure it's recording.
Great.
And it looks like it is. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. We ask that you please rename your Zoom name to your full name and the organization you're with. And if you're a resident, you can put the letter R. So for roll call, I'm going to go down the list as it shows on my screen. And then when I call on your name, if you can just unmute and then say which organization you're with. Twice. Okay, so and then at the end, I will be introducing attendees from the port. So it looks like first up, we have Denise.
Hi, I'm here.
Organization.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dream Foundation.
Thank you, welcome. And then Joey.
Cafe Coop.
Welcome, Joey. And Chuck.
Good afternoon, all. Chuck DeYoung with H.J. Baker.
Thank you, welcome. And Chris Cannon.
I am Chris Cannon with the Edible Schoolyard.
Thank you, welcome, Chris. And Hector.
Hey, Hector Olivares with Catholic Charities.
Thank you, welcome. And Espy.
Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties. Esperanza Vielma, and I'm here just listening in from the mayor's office as the Chief Heat Policy Advisor.
Thank you, welcome. And then Kyle.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Kyle Goff with the California Air Resources Board, specifically the Community Air Protection Program, of course.
Thank you, Kyle, welcome. And Megan.
Hi, everybody. I'm with the Edible Schoolyard Project.
Thank you, welcome. And Nick.
Good afternoon, Nick Chappie here with the California Trucking Association.
Thanks, Nick. And Raul.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raul Hernandez. I'm with San Joaquin Building Trades Council.
Hi, Raul, welcome. And Margot.
Hi, this is Margot Prouse. I'm a resident in the AB 617 area, Southwest Stockton, and I'm chair of the local Sierra group.
Welcome, Margot. And Stephanie.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Ng, and I am the Director of Community Strategies here at the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District.
Welcome. And Tanisha.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tanisha, and I'm the Egypt Program Coordinator with Catholic Charities.
Welcome. And then from the Port of Stockton, we have Commissioner Treza, Commissioner Margaret Stevens, Port Director Kirk De Jesus. We also have Jeff Wingfield, Deputy Director of Regulatory and Public Affairs, Jason Cashman, Director of Environmental Affairs, Sylvester, our Real Estate Marketing Manager, Victoria Lucero, Public Affairs Coordinator, Karen Romero, and myself, and then also Daniel Orozco, our grants specialist. So with that, I'll turn it back on over to you, Jeff.
Right, thank you. And then we have a phone number as well. Do we know who the phone number is? The 4633?
It's Commissioner Stevens.
Oh, great. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you everybody for being here. We really do appreciate it. We thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. And we do have a great agenda for you today based on some of the AB 617 discussion and the measure about the clean truck program, the heavy duty truck program. I wanted to invite somebody from the California Trucking Association. So we'll be hearing from them. Also on Wednesday, I was out at the Edible Schoolyard that we're working with to try to make some improvements over there. That's on port property. And so Chris and his team, thank you for being here to talk about the great work that they are doing over at the Edible Schoolyard in Boggs Tract. And then we have Sylvester here who's going to give a real estate update, which is going to be a new component to these meetings. And I just did want to say, you know, we just came off of the in-person AB 617 meeting, and it was great. I saw most of you there, and it's always nice to get together, and hopefully we can do this as an in-person meeting at some point too. I think that would be worthwhile. So I've got some port updates. We've got our Clean California Cleanup Day. That's going to be this Saturday. We're gonna meet at the port at 9 a.m. So if you can come out, we would love to have you. I know some of you are planning to be there. It'll be a great opportunity. We're going to be doing some work at a parcel in Boggs Tract. As I mentioned before, that's kind of the focus area. Karen's put that the registration in the chat, so you can even sign up right here if you want to. So we really appreciate anybody who wants to volunteer their time. We're going to have a number of school kids that are coming out as well to get some volunteer hours, and it's always great to see. And what we're trying to do is really inspire the folks in Boggs Tract to, you know, look and see folks cleaning up, making a difference, and hopefully instill some pride, and hopefully they'll look out for folks who are doing illegal dumping, because that seems to be the culprit in a lot of these areas. So we'll focus on Boggs Tract, but we'll meet here at 9 o'clock. Anything else you wanted to touch on that, Julia, for any other logistics folks need to know for Saturday?
No, you can just register. You can email us, or you can just show up at the address that's on the flyer that Karen put in the chat. And then I also wanted to mention that I forgot to introduce Pat Barrett. She's also on the call. So welcome, Pat.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Pat. It was good to see you at the AB 617 meeting too.
Thanks for inviting me. And I'm here for EJCW and Mineral Baths Community Gardens.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. So yes, if you can come out for an hour on Saturday, if you can come out, we're going to be, we usually go from 9 to noon. If you just have a little bit of time, we would welcome you to come out. Any of the time you can spare to come out and help us clean up some of the areas out in Boggs Tract would be great. We'll also be out at Earth Day at Victory Park. That's going to be on the 27th. We typically hand out vegetables, tomato plants, and things like that. So we're going to be doing that. And we're also working hard on the second annual, that went by quick, golf tournament to benefit the Boggs Tract neighborhood. That's coming up on June 9th. And we're in the thick of it right now. A lot of folks are signing up. The announcement just went out. So if you're interested in either playing and coming out and hanging out with us for that day, or want to volunteer, and we're open to both ideas. So we really appreciate all the support. It's been tremendous. We've sold out. We sold out last year very quickly, and we anticipate the same for this year. We got great feedback, and so we're really looking forward to the second, and then building on that moving forward. We've been able to do some really cool things for the school. We're in the process of getting them a new audio-visual system, and just some really some things that are really needed over there that will help make it a lot easier on the teachers and make it a better experience for the students out at Washington Elementary. So it's been working. We're hoping to build on it and do bigger and better things as time and money allows. So thank you everybody for supporting those efforts. We also have the Washington Elementary. So we donate the Lindley House for the 7th and 8th graders, for they do like their dinner dance where they're moving on. It's kind of like their mini prom, but prom/graduation. So we've held that successfully over the past few years. And then we've got one of our tenants who's also supporting the 8th grade class to Six Flags. And so the families and the school will not have to bear the burden of that cost. So we really appreciate Transhold for stepping up and helping to support that effort as well. We got them shirts, and so they're going to be good to go when they go out to Six Flags. Just last Friday, we hosted a lunch and learn event for our tenants, focused on getting 100% participation in the jobs board. So if you're a tenant and you have not signed up for the jobs board, please do. We're going to be pushing to get 100% participation over the summer. There are a lot of great candidates that are on that. Our hope is, we're really trying to focus and support the folks in South Stockton and all of Stockton in getting jobs at the port. And so that's been a success. There's also a tutorial both on the tenant side and on the public side as far as how you can sign up. And it's literally should take them about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to sign up. And if you need any help, we are here to help you support that and get you signed up. So if you have any troubles at all, you can reach out to Julia and we'll get you signed up. And then owl nesting season is on us as well. So we've got owls in the boxes. So if that's your thing, you can check them out now they're live on our website. So you can see that as well. Anything else, Julia, that we wanted to touch on?
No, I think you got it.
Are there any other questions? Any questions on my updates from anybody?
Hey Jeff, question on the owl thing. You
Yeah.
guys don't do hawks or any other birds, just owls?
We only do owls, and that's because at least these owls they nest in the box. A lot of the raptors that we have out here, they have like open platform nests, and so no, we can't control that as well. We can't put a camera like right there. So and the owls return to these locations year after year, so it makes it easy for us to do that. So, and it's been good. And then we use those owl pellets in classrooms to go in, and we do a science, we go into science classes, usually 5th grade, and we dissect the owl pellets, and then we teach the students about the ports and about what we do here, and hopefully incentivize and get them interested in maybe thinking about a career in the port industry at some point.
And I know when I used to deliver out there, I always used to see foxes. Do you
Yes,
guys do anything with the fox?
There are a few foxes out here. No, we don't do anything with the foxes really. The owls are keeping us busy as it is. So we're sticking with the owls at this point.
Gotcha.
Any other questions from anybody? All right. Well, if not, I'd like to introduce Chris Chappie. He is the Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs at the California Trucking Association, and Chris has kindly offered to come today to talk about the state of trucking, the state of moving into zero-emission trucks, and kind of the perspective from California trucking industry. So I'd like to turn it over to Chris Chappie. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, Jeff. I'll take it as a compliment. You combined my coworker and myself's name, so I'm Nick Chappie. Very nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. It's right in front of me. Chris Shimoda. Yes.
My brother is named Chris, so you're not wrong. You were very close there. But pleasure to be with you all today. I'm gonna share my screen here. I have a presentation that I'm gonna be going through. Hopefully, I click on the right one. Please let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can see them.
Perfect. So pleasure to be with you all here today. My name is Nick Chappie. I'm the Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs for the California Trucking Association. I wanted to give a presentation today to talk about some of the challenges with adopting heavy-duty zero-emission vehicles, and go through kind of some of those set of problems and challenges that fleets especially face when trying to adopt this technology, and why it's been so slow to adopt ZEVs. So there's kind of 4 main buckets to this. You're taking a look at the cost of the vehicles, the technology constraints, and as well as infrastructure challenges and regulatory uncertainty. And before I move on to my next slide, I'm going to focus mainly on the battery electric vehicle side of the equation. There is hydrogen fuel cells, which are not as readily commercially available as their battery electric vehicle counterparts. And I will talk a little bit about those as well throughout my presentation. But ZEVs are a huge change for this industry. Diesel technology and equipment has been around for decades at this point, and switching the entire industry over to ZEV would be kind of akin to the horse and buggy. It's a a pretty big change for the industry and the way commerce will ultimately be transported. So with one of the first kind of issues to look at is the cost of a zero emission vehicle. It's a very high cost barrier to entry. When you take a look at Class 8 battery electric vehicles, they range anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000. If you're at the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, these can range anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million total. So it's not an easy decision to consider switching over to a ZEV. You're going to be taking a look at cost as one of your first and foremost kind of factors when thinking about this technology. And as well, when you do find or see companies adopting this technology, it's usually going to be larger companies. Just based off of that cost estimate, it's hard for a small mom and pop 3-truck fleet or even single truck fleet to consider that high capital barrier to be able to purchase one of these vehicles. Even with some of the incentives out there, it barely makes a dent in the total cost of these vehicles. Typical trucking companies are operating on about a 1 to 2% profit margin. So it's typically these larger national companies that have additional capital that can make some of these riskier investments in this type of infant technology, because this technology really is in its infancy stage. It's not as readily commercially tested and is not as widely adopted. And some of the commercial manufacturers of these vehicles are startups. They've never operated in this space before. They're new to the manufacturing of these vehicles. So it's a bit of a new area for a lot of these companies. The most recent kind of show of the infancy stage of manufacturing these vehicles is Nikola Motors, which recently went bankrupt. So already we're seeing how difficult it is to stay in the space and be able to offer these types of vehicles. And one of the largest components in deciding why a motor carrier or fleet that transports goods, when you're taking a look at what you're already operating on the diesel side of things, there's a lot of limited capabilities that ZEVs can meet when you comparatively put the two together. So there's some very large technology constraints, especially for a battery electric vehicle. On the hydrogen fuel cell, it's going to be a little bit different, but for battery electric vehicles, there's kind of 3 major components to what a fleet would be looking at, which is the first one being duty cycle. This is typically what you would equate to how far a truck will go during a day when transporting goods. So on average, you're typically looking at a vehicle that's operating in the 400-mile range, 300 to 400-mile range a day. They could be making one stop, they could be making multiple stops, they could be returning home to base, or they could be over the road going throughout the United States. Just kind of to make it easier for this group, a lot of trucking companies, especially that operate within California or just barely outside the state, vehicles are on 24 hours, running 24 hours on 2 different driver shifts, which kind of leave limited time for being able to fuel some of these vehicles. So it's very important when you're taking a look at this, that you're going to have a vehicle that can run for that amount of time with limited downtime. In this industry, if a vehicle is sitting, you're most likely losing money. You want a truck to be running as much as possible in order to be making up for, the costs and revenue. So if a truck is sitting, it's usually not a good sign, which is why charging becomes a very tough component of this, because right now with chargers, there are, some chargers that can charge these large batteries on these big rigs in about 45 minutes to an hour, but they're considered some of the fastest and largest and most expensive chargers. 850 kilowatt is the one that I've seen the most, where it's charging the Tesla, PepsiCo semi trucks. They claim that it can take them 45 minutes to get a full charge in those vehicles, but typical level 2 DC fast charging, it could range anywhere from 3 to 8 hours to charge these vehicles. So when you're taking a look at a diesel truck where it can be refueled in about 20 minutes, you're having problems on the other side with charging a battery electric vehicle, where it could take a long time to charge these. And especially if you have a driver in that vehicle and they're on duty time, they're constrained by their hours of service and how long they can be on duty time. You're going to be losing a lot of potential distance that could be covering just having to charge the vehicle. And one of the biggest factors of the zero emission vehicles is going to be the battery weight. For battery electric vehicles, you're looking at anywhere from 6, maybe like 5,000 pounds to up to 12,000 pounds of additional weight that is going to be added onto a vehicle. In California, and almost nationwide, 80,000 pounds is the limit for how much a vehicle can transport at a given time. So when you're talking about this additional weight that's going to be added to a vehicle, you're going to be losing your total capacity load. So if you operate in a business like aggregate, where you're hauling sand or gravel, you're going to be at an extreme disadvantage and potentially losing millions of dollars if you start adopting these vehicles, because you're going to lose your capacity and your load. And on top of that, you're going to have to purchase more vehicles to make up for that loss in weight. In kind of a more relevant item, when you look at port drayage and containers coming from overseas, these are usually packed, for a 40-foot container at 43,000 pounds at its maximum load. With a typical diesel truck at 26,000 pounds, chassis is going to be around 10,000 pounds. And then with a 43,000 pound maximum loaded container, you're going to be right at that 80,000 pound limit. If you're going over with battery weight, there's an overweight corridor at the Port of Stockton, but if you don't have a facility that's located on that overweight corridor, you're not going to be able to bring that container in, break it down, get it down to an 80,000 or below limit to be able to go outside of that overweight corridor and transport those goods to, say, Nevada or other parts of California. So that's going to be a huge problem for the drayage side of things if, companies or fleets are going to the Port of Stockton, getting these containers, they're overweight, and they're not able to divide that load up at a facility within the overweight corridor. You're going to be running into a lot of problems and possibly operating illegally if you're taking that outside that overweight corridor.
And Nick, for most of our, we don't do many containers really at all, but yeah, so most of what we're doing is like steel and stuff like that. But yeah, that's still a concern.
Got it. And the other point I want to get to is the infrastructure challenge. This is probably one of the biggest components of the zero emission vehicle equation, because frankly, there's not a lot of public charging opportunities. Some of these facilities, some of the ports have began to install infrastructure, but there's no gas stations for zero emission vehicles to charge at yet. The network is not built out. So there could be some of that range anxiety when you're operating these vehicles about where you're going to be fueling next. And if you're not able to complete your duty cycle already with the limited battery and you have limited charging opportunities, that's going to present a challenge as well. On top of that, when you're taking a look at depot charging, so charging at your facility, installing, constructing, it's a very lengthy process. So when you're reaching out to the utilities, working with them to get a design done, seeing if there's any inner capabilities or connection to the grid, it becomes an even costlier opportunity as well. And on top of that, you have to take into consideration if where your trucking company is, if it's leased versus owned property, or if you're a smaller company, you or an owner operator, you might even park your truck at your house. So there's going to be very limited possibilities of being able to charge that vehicle at your house. If you're on leased property, you're going to have to come to some sort of agreement with the owner of that property to be able to install, construct, and have charging at that facility. And so the other component to that is also grid capacity limitations. A lot of circuits maintain only about a megawatt of total extra capacity that's available. So if you want a Tesla semi per se with the 850 kilowatt charger, because you want to be able to charge your vehicle in 45 minutes, if you have two of those chargers installed on your facility, you're already over that megawatt capacity. So there's additional concerns there as well when thinking about ZEBs, about where you're going to get your power at your facility. If you're a fleet that's adopting 10 of these vehicles and you're looking at a 10 megawatt project, this is going to trigger upstream upgrades that would require millions of dollars in capital to build a substation to supplement that type of power. And additionally, if you're an interstate carrier, you're hauling outside of the state, that charging network is pretty much non-existent as well. So additional problems and considerations there. If you want to adopt this technology, it works for some people, but for most of trucking, especially on the road, if you're going from state to state, range anxiety and charging opportunities are limited. And the final piece that I want to talk about is the regulatory uncertainty kind of behind the requirement for fleets to adopt zero emission technology. We saw earlier this year, CARB withdrew their Advanced Clean Fleets waiver from the EPA, which means that CARB is unable to enforce that regulation, which would have required certain fleets to purchase zero emission vehicles. Without that waiver, we know for at least the next 4 years that fleets don't have to comply with this regulation, which means less demand on the market for these vehicles. And additionally, on the federal level, we see Congress is trying to revoke the waiver for the Advanced Clean Trucks regulation, which was a sales mandate for zero emission vehicles on manufacturers that required them to sell a certain percentage of zero emission vehicles for the amount of diesel vehicles that they sold. So if that is potentially overturned, then there's going to be a less demand and less of a market for the adoption of zero emission vehicles, which brings even more uncertainty to fleets adopting this technology. And with that, I will open it up to any questions that anyone has.
I raise my hand. Yeah, just raise your hand.
Hi, Pat.
Okay. I love it. I drove one when you guys had the fair that day when we were out at the port.
Yes.
I'm a truck driver. I have a Class A license. My questions are, I used to drive for STI out of Oakland, the port. And so I know how heavy those containers can get. What is the pull power on these electric tractors? Sometimes they're overweight, these trailers.
I apologize. I couldn't hear. What was the question again?
Okay. So a lot of these the containers that come into the ports, they're super heavy. They got granite, they got all kinds of stuff in there. So my question is, on the electric truck, what is the horsepower on them compared to diesel pulled trucks?
It's all going to depend model to model. I'm not familiar with the technology that is out there as far as horsepower, but it's going to range variously.
Okay, the second, oh,
I was going to say I've seen models up to about 650 horsepower.
okay. Yeah, because sometimes we pick them up, we have to pull them up over the Grapevine or up over Donner Pass, and those are really hard grades to take a trailer up. The other question is well, the thought, when you were talking about owner operators bringing their trucks home, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. It's not allowed in the visible residential areas. But I think something that you should be able to do, or maybe think about, is talking to all these truck lots that we have for parking along the El Dorado corridor on the south side, and see if they can do a grid, or if you can get a grid to where you could remember the old drive-ins, how they always had the sound box right next to the car. Maybe you can see about getting some kind of charging stations, because a lot of tractors are down there, and so that way you've got multiple tractors getting charged.
Yes, I know there was an initiative from the California Transportation Commission called the SB 671 study, which did have kind of identified areas where potential public-private partnership could work with developing charging infrastructure for opportunity charging along those major routes. I know there's money out there. I'm just not sure who is who's taking advantage of it.
Well, we need to get that promoted. That's it.
Yes, Margot.
Hi. So that was very depressing, Nick.
Not that wasn't the point of the, so I just, we've all had you know, I think we've all been a little disappointed. I mean, when we had our ride and drive event, I figured we'd at least get like 3 folks that would be seriously interested. And then, you know, we had that measure in AB 617, but I just wanted folks to be able to see the perspective from the trucking industry side. So sorry, Marco, go ahead.
I know. And you know, we've heard it kind of before, never heard it so clearly spelled out like that, but have heard all these same things ongoing. Now, and Nick, you are with a trucking agency.
So I represent the California Trucking Association. We have members that are trucking company businesses that range from Fortune 500 companies down to owner operators.
And can I ask you, is your agency lobbying or supporting any of the activities that it would take to correct some of, like, the lack of infrastructure and those kinds of things? And I know that CARB withdrew their efforts, and I know why, and we all know why, and this is going to be a long 4 years, but I'm wondering if your agency is still looking at moving forward, because pollution is such a very, very, very serious issue in our area, and trucks are very large polluters.
No, completely understand. And CTA's standpoint with the regulations has always been that there's an avenue to do this. There are applications that work for zero emission vehicles at this point in time, especially when you're taking a look at vehicles like, I'm going to pick on Amazon for a second, but Amazon that has a set route that are in a limited area that can go back to home base at night and charge for 12 hours. There's certainly applicable use cases for zero emission vehicle technology. I will preface by saying that CTA is in active litigation with the Air Resources Board over the ACF regulation, not because we disagree with it, but we disagree with how it is written and how it forces a one-size-fits-all approach on the industry. Whereas when we expressed concerns over the use cases and how it can be actively adopted now, was not felt in the same light.
And Margot, I can just share with you a little bit, like, so when for our cargo handling equipment, we typically have, and Joe, feel free to jump in too. We typically have two pieces of equipment. So in case there is any issue or the battery goes dead or anything like that, we can pull another piece of equipment right in and put it to use. The reason that wasn't such a big deal for us was because we would do that typically when we had diesel equipment as well, where we would have one on standby just in case it was, something broke down, or, we had to, when we had a lot of the diesel equipment, we'd have to recharge the diesel particulate filters as well. So there was downtime associated with that. But Joe, is there anything that you wanted to weigh in on just kind of the different? You can't really do that really with a truck like you can with us working on a port operation.
I can add just to Nick, thank you for your presentation. And for us on the port property, we do have the luxury of being 100 yards away from charging infrastructure at both locations on the east and west complex. But it is kind of continually moving forward and getting better. But it is a luxury being at a port facility to transition over and having the opportunity to kind of age out diesel equipment as we go through this process really has also been helpful, because it's teaching the operators as well, just learning I guess the maneuvering of the similar machine, which is a forklift, but the maneuverability and how it operates with different energy is also grateful for us to have that opportunity at the port.
All right. Any other questions for Nick? Yes. Cafe Coupe JV.
Hey, Nick, I just was wondering, going forward to overcome these obstacles so it makes feasible for regular truckers and guys, like I got friends that have like 30 trucks, 40 trucks, and I brought this up to them. What are you doing to make this more feasible for people to switch over to these trucks?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a maturity in the technology that's commercially available, especially when you're taking a look at turning over technology. You want to be able to have something that can meet the same demand for what you're turning over. So
right.
I think it's more of a technology and engineering issue more than an incentive issue at this point.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate it. And now we have Chris. So now I'm in my wheelhouse here. But thanks, Nick, for joining us today. We really appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch. And thank you again.
Yes, want to extend my sincerest thank yous to as well for allowing me to come and speak, and hopefully it sheds a little bit more light on the difficulty of transitioning over, but greatly appreciate being able to answer everyone's questions, and hope you have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay. So Chris Cannon is the program director for Edible Schoolyard. As I mentioned, we were just out there. It's a great facility. They're doing great things. When I was there Wednesday, they had cars lined up all the way down the street that were waiting to come and pick up a bag of fresh produce from the facility. They do a great job. They put a recipe in there so you can take that home, and you've got everything you need right there for a beautiful ready-to-eat meal from a local source. So wanted to invite Chris. The biggest thing, we need to get more, and Megan, we need to get more eyes and more word out about the Edible Schoolyard and the great things they're doing down there. So this is at least our first effort to do that. We're gonna feature them more in our newsletter and try to get the word out a little bit. But I wanted this group to hear kind of firsthand from Chris and Megan about the great things they're doing. Megan's in charge of the the school program, and I thought that was just phenomenal. And so wanted them to share a little bit about that with you guys here today. So Chris, if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And Julie, do I share my screen or do you share the screen?
Have the presentation. It'd be great if you can share. I enabled it for you.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Give me a quick second. Can everybody see my screen?
We can see a screen.
It's not the presentation though.
It's not. It's been so long since I've been on Zoom like this. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
All right. So as mentioned, my name is Chris Cannon, the program director at the Edible Schoolyard. We're located right there on Ventura Ave. So we are one of the properties on rented by the Port of Stockton. Can anybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so here we're going to talk about a few of the programs that we offer on the farm itself. And so what we want to focus on is we focus on edible education as in the name, right? So everything is organically grown, no pesticides in the food. We focus on students and community members alike. So our philosophy is that we're building their skills, right? We're building their skills and training their habits one day at a time by food. A study's shown that in the past, in the areas where we're located at, in food deserts, that people are dying from the lack of nutrition, right? People in this community dying at the age of like 55, 56, when the county average is 75, 76. So it's a 20-year gap due to things like environmental health, food, and things like that. So we want to also build the relationships to food and food systems, right? For youth, how the food is grown. How did that food get to Safeway? Which trucks brought it to Safeway, as we heard earlier? And experience all interconnectedness of living things, right? Seeds to chickens, right? Have a good time and change your thoughts about food. So that's our philosophy as a program. So we have 4 programs that we do on the farm, and we do 1 program off the farm. And we're going to talk about the ones we do on the farm right now. So we have our CSA program. We have our community plots holder program. We have our field trips program, which Megan leads for us. And we have our farm festivals program. So our CSA is what we call it for short. Jeff had mentioned, you can see in the photo where the cars are lined up. We offer 130 bags of produce weekly to community members. The goal of that is to increase their produce intake, right? So each bag comes with 5 or 6 items of different produce depending on what season it is. We also provide a recipe. Recipes are important because we want to change the behaviors of individuals as well. I use the example of bok choy. I grew up, I never knew what bok choy was. And so if you give me bok choy, I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to just put it down. So the recipes are very important so that people can learn what to do with the foods. And so we also have things like social media contests, right, to get the people excited to utilize the products that we give them and let them explore different recipes on their own. So that's our CSA program in a whole, every Wednesday from 10 to 12 at the farm. And I'm going to go quickly due to time constraints. We have a plot holders program as well too. So we offer 2 different size plots. We have a 20 by 20 plot and an 8 by 14 plot. These are for community members because studies show that most people in Stockton are renters or they live in multi-unit families housing. So they don't have a backyard or they can't grow their own food. So we offer them plots to grow their food on. In the past, it was 20 by 20s. We see that's a lot of space for them to handle. So we're condensing that down to 8 by 14s, but we still have people that like the 20 by 20 plots who've been there for a while too. These people are already equipped with growing, so we don't have to teach them as much. They just need a place to do it, and we provide that place for them as well. Field trip program. That's one of our biggest programs that we offer, which Megan leads and does an excellent job. So we offer field trips to all SUSD schools, Mexico Unified Schools, SJCO, Lodi Unified, and Lincoln Unified as well too. Field trips are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. We offer different lessons, and I'll let Megan touch on that in a second. Cooking, right? Cooking lessons, planting lessons, harvesting lessons. And this is important for you to get these lessons at a young age so they can start to build the relationships towards food different than we're teaching adults who have grown up not knowing it. So it's hard to change those behaviors. Megan, did you want to add anything about the field trip program?
Sure, real quick. Yeah, as Chris mentioned, we see a really wide range of ages and different community groups. And we also have some groups that get to come back, whether it's like once a week or once a month or 3 times a year. And that I've seen it like day to day is really, really impactful on, like Chris said, the change in behaviors. We'll get a lot of kids that are kind of hands off the first time, and then as they come back, they really start to engage, and I can see a difference in their behavior changes. Actually, here's a photo of our Washington group now. They are lucky because they get to walk around the corner from their school, and they see us every other Monday. Yeah, I'll let you finish up, Chris.
Yeah, so she mentioned, so Washington is the only school that's a repeated school. Sometimes we only see the students once a year or once in a lifetime, right? Just because it's hard to book the field trip. So it's very important that we capture the whole experience while they're there. It's very important too that they get as much as the program as they can, right? To go pick the food itself and be able to cook it so they can actually see where the food comes from as well too. So that's very important. And depending on the class size or the grade level, I should say, we have different lessons. And so for older kids, right, we teach about food justice and nutrition. So we go into deeper conversations about food deserts and things of that nature. So we have curriculums depending on the age level, but we go from high school down to kindergarten. Lastly, we have our farm festivals. We offer 4 farm festivals a year. Each farm festival is themed by has a different theme to it. So we have like our Earth Day Festival, which is coming up in 2 weeks. We're calling it Spring Fling. We have like our Fruit Jam Festival. When we have an abundance of fruit on the trees, we have to let the community come and pick that off so we can harvest for the next season. Of course, we do like a fall festival, Halloween themed festival with pumpkins. But we really want to highlight the festivals as a time to just come out to the farm and enjoy the green space, right? We average about 350 to 400 people at an event. Events are from 10 to 1 o'clock, 10 to 2, 10 to 1. Megan, what is it?
All our festivals are from 10 to 1.
10 to 1. Thank you. I appreciate it. And so, yeah, so we offer different tasks, right? So we'll do a farm tour. We'll do some type of health nutrition. A girls trip will come and do a walk around. It's all to promote healthy living. Studies also show how greenery is good for your mental health. So we'll lay out blankets for the community. Just come and lay down and relax by the trees. Just a time just to rest your mind and relax. We also do another cooking demonstration that Megan does as well too, depending on what we have on the farm. Everything that we cook, we get it from the farm, so that we have a true farm to fork experience as well. So in conclusion, and I know that I went quickly due to time constraints, our first farm festival of the year is coming up. It's going to be called Spring Fling, April 26th. That'll be from 10 o'clock to 1 p.m. Please come out and enjoy. We have the CSA, the produce bags giveaway. We have a cooking demonstration. We're doing a ladybug release, and we have a lot of activities for the kids and for the families to enjoy. And for that ends my presentation for today. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Not all at once now.
Oh, no.
No,
No, that's great. No, thanks, Chris, so much. And we're working with Chris and the schoolyard on a fence project, and hopefully in the not too distant future, putting in a well for them to reduce costs from, all the water that they're using out there to grow all these great crops. So yeah, so we're excited, and we're able to put some of the money that we've been able to raise through the golf tournament to help them as well. And we've got other tenants who are interested too. Margot, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So Chris, I was just wondering about how many community members actually work a plot.
We have 30 plots rented out. Right now, when we're going smaller plots, so we have about 50 plots available, but 30 of them are rented out. And as we still build the smaller ones, 8x14s, then we can have more community members come. We have a very extensive waiting list as we speak, and that's why downsizing the size for more people to come out has been working for us so far.
Nice, thank you.
Mr. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Chris. What a great presentation. And quick question, if you wanted to like volunteer like time to at your location, what can you do?
Yeah, for sure. we can get you information today. We also have we also have second Saturdays is volunteer days on the farm, depending on what's needed. If it's a festival coming up or cleaning or weeding or whatnot, for flipping produce, then we'll pull our produce out. But every second Saturday for sure. And then we also have various other tasks, various other volunteer days, depending on, what's happening, what's coming up on the farm.
I can add that we always need a lot of volunteers for our farm festivals, and those happen 4 times a year. So more hands the better for those. We also have held like big group volunteer days for like certain groups that want to come out, and those are a huge help to our farm staff.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. It's really exciting what you're doing over there, and we want to be supportive, and I know that this group is supportive, and we will do everything we can to help you guys continue to get the word out, and get more folks over there, especially on Wednesdays, because that's so cool. I was really inspired when I saw that last week. So thank you guys so much for being here and for the work that you do.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we will now move into Sylvester Aguilar is from our real estate department, is going to give an update on the real estate side, and take it away, Sylvester. Oh, you're on mute.
I do that a lot. Thanks so much for the invite. I just, you just took half of my speech away about our investments that we're making in the garden, but that's okay.
That's all right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about the garden, so I'm excited that we are making investments for safety out there, and also helping them try and reduce their water costs. It's a substantial expense the way the structure is there. So we're going through the process and getting them in front of the people that need to make that happen. We're really always concerned about the air quality, and some of you may know that we already have a monitoring trailer from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District at the farm. It was their decision. They had approached us to place a trailer so they can monitor some of the air quality, and they had chosen the farm. Subsequent to that, recently they've been asking for a second location, and after touring the facility once again, they've decided that, and we're certainly going to accommodate the second trailer that will be located near the Lindley House, which will help capture different flows of air quality through there. And because I guess we would like to know if there are any sources out there that are challenging, as much as the neighborhood would like to know what those are. So we're happy to accommodate those trailers in our properties. As far as the activities of renting and tenant mix in the real estate, we've seen a lot of restless tenants. Obviously, the tariffs have made an impact on certain kinds of commodities that we have. So we have some folks that are thinking twice about going long term and how much space they need, which is okay, because it's always good to have a mix in tenants. So we're seeing a lot of activity in replacements and expansions, and some wanting long-term leases and some wanting short-term leases. So it's a pretty exciting time. There's a lot of changes, always good, and we continue to seek out those kinds of tenants that are not going to be a significant impact to our neighbors and or neighboring tenants. We have actually recently made some significant changes of placement of those tenants and removal of some, or at least discouraging of some, and are continuously monitoring those. So it's a busy time right now, but we're happy to say that we're finding those that have shipping parts to them, because that's the most important thing for a port, and we're trying to make sure that we can help accommodate the cargoes that they bring in. So we're very well leased up, but there's so much activity, so much calls lately that we're seeing a little change. Nobody's going to have to close the doors today. We have enough activity to keep everything busy. And we look forward to trying to find more environmentally friendly folks to come in. Somebody that just needs to store things and not be in and out so many times is always nice. We keep the air quality better. But things are going pretty well. And we hope that this settling comes soon with the tariffs so that we can have tenants and shipping activity that is a little bit easier to manage. So I'm between everybody and their happy hour or dinner. So I think I'll leave it to that unless there's some questions that are out there, Jeff.
Thanks, Sylvester. Appreciate it. No, I don't see any questions. The only other thing that we wanted to address today is that we do have a statement on GSNR that we're going to be posting to our website. Kirk, did you want to read that here today, or did you just want to make an announcement that we're going to put it on our website and go from there? Oh no, he's here. You're on mute if you're talking.
It is on the website. I just wanted to report
Oh, it
that,
is.
Jeff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. I know we're at the 5 o'clock hour, so I'll mention it in the next commission meeting, but I think having it on the website's good. And if there's any questions, just reach out to me, please.
There is a banner right underneath the sign up for the golf tournament, and you can access it there. So with that, we want to thank everybody for their participation. We look forward to seeing you again next month. Next month, I did want to note, we may have to move it a day, but we will be in touch and let you know. We do have some folks that are going to be back east, and so we may have to modify the schedule to accommodate that, but be on the lookout for that change. So we may switch over to Thursday, but we will be having the meeting. So thank you to everybody. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. And feel free to reach out always if there are tours if folks are interested in coming out, going on tours. That is always an option. I always want to make sure that folks hear that. Oh yeah, sorry, Mary Elizabeth. I thought you were just waving goodbye. You're on mute too.
You know, the people like me to be on mute. Kurt, I just wanted to say that, you know, with all that went on at the meeting yesterday with the city of Stockton, you know, your presence and your name, you know, was favorably reviewed. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate you too.
Thank you very much. And
I appreciate you too. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate your comments during the meeting as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.